I would like to welcome to the stage to take part in this fireside chat our speakers. We're going to talk about supercharging your game art production. And I believe we have Burju from Layer AI and Andriy from Tripledot. Is that right? Yeah. So please join us on stage. Come on up.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thanks for hanging in there. This is Burju. I'm the co-founder and CRO of Layer AI. We are a productivity tool for game art teams. Our vision is to accelerate and unlock human creativity. I'm emphasizing human here because Layer is all about a tool to help art teams go faster, to be more productive. And we've been adopted by a number of top game companies already, like Zynga, SciPlay, Tripledot, of course, is one of them, marketing team of Dream Games. But yeah, Tripledot has been our very first customer. That's why it's a very special moment for me. Like, since the beginning of our journey, like, we've come so far, and we really are excited to tell you all about this journey. Hoping to contribute to your own exploration with AI and adoption of AI in your art pipelines to just go faster. Well, I'm accompanied by Andriy. Andriy, would you like to introduce yourself?
So I'm Andriy. I'm VP of Creative at Tripledot. Been with the company for 3 years now. And yeah, last year was a really interesting year when we started to work with Layer.
Yep. Well, thanks for your early trust. Let's just dive in. We're going to keep it real. We're not going to sugarcoat anything. The world is not all pink. So let's kick this off. Andriy, so how did you first... yeah, sure. How did you start exploring with AI? Were you looking at many tools? Like, how did you decide to go with Layer?
Yeah, so historically on our games, mainly for recurrent content production, we used outsourcing studios. And one of my directors, a bit more than a year ago, said, is there any AI tool out there? We heard a lot about it at the beginning that we can use for this content. It's content that we create and throw away in a week. Is there anything that we can do better there? So that really clicked with me, and I started to look into some tools. We looked in tools like Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, at some point we realized there is something there. We managed to reduce production of some of this content from 2 weeks to like a couple of hours now, which was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you touched on Midjourney, like we hear this very often. What's the difference between Midjourney and Layer? What was the problem there?
Yeah, so while this was all exciting and time-saving and cost-saving, we realized there are a couple of problems. First one was the consistency of the assets produced. It is great for creating concept art or get some ideas that we can work on. But if you need to have production-ready assets, it was not great. We had to over-engineer the prompts and like try to have a library of prompts that we can use for each part of the different games. Where Layer is amazing in the sense that we are able to train our own models based on our own art.
And training your own models sounds really, really complicated. Do you think it's really complicated to do it on Layer?
No, it wasn't actually. It sounds complicated, but it's not. The first test we ran on one of our games, Tripledot, was literally to take all the outsourced art that we had and train the model on that. Basically uploaded 20 images, put some keywords in it, and we already saw the magic happening there.
How long does it take to train a model?
Around 40-50 minutes, and then you're ready to go. Every 4 or 5 seconds, you get a couple of images generated there.
Yeah, fantastic. So you mentioned Tripletile, one of the top games of Tripledot. What was the use case you found for Layer first?
So first use case was, we have thousands of levels in Tripletile, and every 10 levels you have a new chapter. So it means like a full screen background and 6 isometric assets. So that was the first use case, and we said, let's jump straight into this and move into production, change our pipeline, and see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Well, changing your pipeline, wow, like I can see gaming founders here. It's like, how am I gonna convince my art team to change their pipeline? So, can you tell us a bit about like how did that change go?
So I think I should also mention before this another problem that we had with Midjourney, and similar to that, is the ethical part of it, which most of the art team was really concerned about, me included.
As they should.
Not gonna lie.
Yes.
Being able to train our own model resolved that problem as well. And after that, the art team really adopted this tool across all the locations we have. And starting from Tripledot, we moved to other games.
I'm gonna pause there for a second and talk about the copyright part. So. Every big AI model has a copyright problem because they need to be trained on this billions of data points, and that's what makes them so powerful. However, there's no mechanism in place to reward artists for their contribution, and that's really the main problem. And with tools like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion-based model, there are still issues, and we're continuously, observing them. But at Layer, the way we use these open source models is we allow game developers to train these custom models in a private workspace. So during this private, fine-tuning application, no data is being passed to the base model provider. None of your prompts or your assets are shared. Therefore, you kind of get the world context power of Stable Diffusion, but you make it really a handy tool to produce more art in your art style. And I'm just gonna go back to that. So what was the benefit of Layer to your artists? So we talked about, leveling up the playing field, and you train these models, of course, in very high quality art by your senior artists. So
a couple of things happened on that. So one, which I'm really proud of, we managed to move our Warsaw art team, who was developing live ops art for our games, and they were doing the same thing all over again for many years. They wanted to progress, they wanted to do UI, other stuff. But of course, recurring content is that what keeps our games alive. So we managed to unlock the team completely. We moved the whole live ops operation using Layer in Indonesia, and all of those artists now are doing what they love to do. They do UI, animation, and they're able to work on core game experiences instead of creating the same thing all over again.
So you're saying that now that models are trained with your top quality art by your senior artists, junior artists can use the same model.
Exactly, they can produce better quality things as well, while learning to do that quality art as well.
Which is phenomenal. And how much faster did you end up going using Layer?
Again, if we compare outsourcing to when we used Midjourney, it was a couple of hours. Now it's really a matter of a couple of minutes for the same amount of assets.
And how much cheaper is it in terms of time and resources?
So the time we said it's
you don't need to give an exact number.
Yeah. But it's very cheap. Leadership is really happy about that.
Yeah, fantastic.
So we basically been able to close all the outsourcing operations, apart from one game that we're still figuring out.
Yes. So Tripledot is using Layer across multiple games and across multiple teams, from game art to monetization art to marketing art. And we also, work across multiple games. Wudoku is one of them. I would say backgrounds and in-game props are the top use cases.
Yeah, exactly.
And with Piper's Pet Cafe, so what's not working there? What do you think? Do we need to refine the models a bit?
Yeah. So we have a particular perspective in Piper's Pet Cafe, particular is isometric perspective. In what we've seen with Layer, sometimes we cannot get exact perspective we need. For some assets it works, plants or trees, but when it comes to chairs or bed, things like that, sometimes it doesn't get the perspective right. But we made some progress. There were a couple of versions of the model, and we're still working on this. I'm pretty confident we can get it.
So to really talk about that problem, it's all about training the model with the right type of assets. So if you have a really consistent angle, we need to make sure that the model consists that angle, because after all, Layer today is only supporting 2D, but we're really stretching the limits of a 2D tool to act like 3D. That's why there's some, gaps in the consistency sometimes, but by working with the team, and we are all well trained to support customers. We've been in games for a while. I worked at Unity for 6 years doing customer services. So with some refinement, we're confident Piper's Pet Cafe also will get there. So let's also talk about maybe was your team okay to adopt AI? In the beginning?
In the beginning, not at all. There were lots of fears on, ethical part, also job security. All those questions were raised. But we had a couple of sessions after we adopted Layer AI. All the ethical part disappeared. There were still concerns about job security, but our vision is to produce more with what we have already. So we have same teams. We're still growing, still hiring, but we can do just more and faster.
Which is fantastic. So one of our goals is, to make sure that you can do more with what you have. And I'd say in top gaming teams, like how big is your art team again, for everyone's reference?
So we're around 60 people in my team. This is excluding the Indonesia operation.
Yeah, and with no reduction in the team, they're just able to ship levels faster. Games are scalable, players are demanding, but in the past they had this huge art bottleneck.
Yeah. I remember when we decided we need to have thousands more levels, we were just thinking, okay, we need more outsourcing, like we need more resources and everything, but this all changed with Layer. Yeah.
Fantastic to hear. I mean, maybe we can even ask questions early on. Yes, copyright questions I'm sure is gonna come, but yeah, please go ahead.
I would love to know how you train the models on your own art, make it ethical. The skill on the backbone of Stable Diffusion, which was trained on billions of parameters from the internet. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, great question, and unfortunately, it's a tough question, and it's a evolving space. It is true that Stable Diffusion's base model has this problem, and we're building Layer in a model-agnostic way. If there's a better model that is, let's say, reward artists, we're gonna make the switch in no time. Currently, the way we handle this is, at least our tool is built on custom model training. We're not so much promoting Stable Diffusion base model usage in the end product. The way we use Layer is not passing data. It's not trained ethically, but at least we're not contributing to its further success. We take what's great about it, which is the world context in terms of the text comprehension capabilities, and then using developers' custom artwork, they produce more in their art style, not so much purposefully trying to infringe copyright. We have some guidelines. We work with top law firm from Israel, actually, Herzog Law. So yeah, we feel we're responsible to at least educate the users about what is this. We try to provide guidelines. We tell them how you cannot infringe copyright, what words you should not use, how you can be respectful of people's personality rights. So for example, if you type Madonna, you're infringing Madonna's copyright because Stable Diffusion obviously knows who Madonna is. Or if you say Picasso or Van Gogh, because Stable Diffusion knows, you can easily make a Van Gogh painting with Stable Diffusion, and that's not okay. So the good news is, though, and I'm not going to give so much spoiler, we think it's a huge problem, and we think there's a huge need to solve this problem. And we are working on something which we hope to announce, hopefully addressing that problem. Yes, please.
So you mentioned in the pipeline, you get game-ready assets that no restraints I know AI has artifacts all the time. At what point do you settle for what you get? At what point do you spend extra time editing those assets, which ends up adding more work?
Yeah, so the cool thing in Layer that we can, if we have some artifacts, there's canvas that we can fix different parts of it right there without even needing to put the assets inside Photoshop and edit it there. So far for our type of games and the type of assets, the quality level is still high, and we can fix things that are, they're wrong. It's really nice. We have multiple layers in there. We can select different parts of it. We can prompt it again. We can paint over and then render that again within the tool. So it's really easy and fast.
Yeah, great point on that. So while Layer is powered by AI, we try to keep most of our features similar to Photoshop. So we want to make sure that this is a tool for artists, and AI is easy to adopt and familiar to adopt because there's so much new details about AI, and it might look confusing or complicated, especially for a more traditional artist. And maybe a technical artist is better off, faster in adopting these tools. But we want to make sure that to bridge this gap between an AI native person versus a traditional artist. So keeping the tool very familiar to Photoshop has been very, very rewarding. You can adjust your brush softness, you can build in layers, you can switch between different AI models, build the composition. Really quickly, you can export to Photoshop. Also, most of our users are exporting in PSD format, taking the asset to Photoshop to finish it. Why? Because a Layer is a startup. It's only been a year. How can we be as good as Photoshop in edits? That's why we made it super easy for them to take it to Photoshop. And actually, we have many users in the audience. They're always saying, with this Photoshop exports, it's been even more faster because at least we're not forcing artists to use an AI tool constantly. We are realistic about it. The point is, can they make art faster? Is it fun to make? Can we make AI an exciting tool that uplifts their productivity? That's all we care about. Yep. Yeah, please.
What size catalog would you need, asset catalog would you need to make?
I'm sorry, could you use the mic at the back of the room?
Sure.
I'm afraid.
I was just wondering what size asset catalog would you need for training Layer AI to produce good results?
Yeah, absolutely. So AI models are constantly evolving. The first model we enabled this custom training on was trained on 512 by 512 pixels. Therefore, it was defaulting those assets, and you can use upscaler tool to go up to 4K because you may have defaults that you work at higher resolutions. But then we're enabling the newer latest model that was trained on 1024 by 1024, so you can have really high quality defaults at this resolution as well, and use the upscaler to upscale. What's your default resolution?
Different teams do different things, but yeah, at the end of the day, we always upscale everything and maybe adjust while it's upscaled. It gives more detailed result as well.
Exactly, you can make it more HD. How many assets do you need to train a model? So per game, we recommend train few models for different use cases, like backgrounds, game assets, in-game, let's say it's a decoration merge game, like furnitures, backgrounds, characters, it can be anything. For each model, it's 25 assets.
Yeah. In Tripledot, we have 4 models basically for the game. We have for buildings, for trees, for other assets, and the backgrounds basically.
Mm-hmm. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, last question apparently, but we can always chat later. Yeah.
Oh, do you have guidelines about what kind of prompts artists use in general to use Layer, or each gaming company creates their own prompts and the prompt library for artists to be able to create characters or scenery in an easier way? Because even using ChatGPT, at first people didn't know what to write to be able to get the right result. So are you working on guidelines on prompts overall in Layer or per game?
Yeah, sure. So, great question. And this is, again, one of the new skills you need to develop, like how to command AI to get what you want. So, yeah, prompts are the text words you use to tell AI. So, like, let's say a table with a vase on top with the rose inside, right? We have some guidelines, but nobody reads them. So, we need to make...
Can confirm.
Yeah, exactly. And most of our users are from everywhere, and they're not native speakers. And the huge problem is like how do we make it so easy? We're working on certain improvements in the product that helps read their mind. Not read their mind, but we have an enhancer, for example. You write a word, it gives you a big paragraph. So you can use that inspiration and edit it, but it doesn't need to be that complicated, right? Models also will get better at comprehending text, and hopefully like get better at like giving you what you want with as few as word as possible. But there are like several improvements we're working, like suggestions, prompt history, saved prompts. But these are all private to companies' workspace. So generally companies, they work with multiple games, multiple studios. They share insights within themselves. We're not a consumer tool where you can go check out prompts. If our users demand more consumer stuff, we'll do it. But currently, like everybody loves that this is a private, clean workspace for their team to share.
I think you might have to leave it there, unfortunately.
Okay.
But Burcu and Andriy, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks so much.